scoot in a little closer here. Tighten up. Come on.
Scoot up. Scoot up. Scoot up.
About stepping on board a submarine, you must give up any hope of personal space. Get elbow room in here or anything like that. Try to be friendly for at least 20 minutes. My name is Jeffrey. I'm going to welcome you guys to the U505 today. The number one question I get about the U505 submarine is whether or not this one is the real thing. This is not a movie set. This is not a model. It's not a diorama. This is a real, honest-to-goodness German U-boat and one of the few remaining terrors of World War II. The U505 stalked the Atlantic Ocean for about 3 years. In that time, is responsible for destroying 8 Allied merchant ships. Eventually, she was captured off the west coast of Africa, June 4th, 1944, by a Chicago native. His name was Captain Dan Gallery, along with Hunter Killer Task Force 22.3. He had an escort-sized aircraft carrier and 5 destroyers. A lot of firepower against one little submarine. Speaking of size, the boat is 252 feet long. The widest point by the control room, the outer hull measures 22 feet. However, at the same point, the inner hull is only 15 feet. I promise you guys, we're all clumped inside the control room together. It ain't gonna feel like 15 feet, believe me. Highest point on the boat is the conning tower. Measures 3 stories from keel to the top of the tower. And presently, this boat weighs 750 tons. But we call that dead weight because it's empty. It needs 66,000 gallons of diesel fuel, 22 torpedoes, which weigh 3,000 pounds each, a full crew, the food and supplies for all these men. The total displacement of this boat was about 1,150 tons of water. Now, I mentioned that the boat was brought to us by a Hunter Killer Task Force. This part of the story is kind of confusing. See, a Hunter Killer Task Force means they go out in the Atlantic Ocean, they find a U-boat like this one, and then they destroy it. Right? They're not called a Hunter-Catcher Task Force. So this boat doesn't belong here. This is supposed to be at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Alright, Captain Gallery was old-fashioned. Because he just decided he was going to do something not done by the U.S. Navy. In over 130 years, he had a boarding party, and he captured an enemy vessel. The last time the U.S. Navy did that before this was during the War of 1812. This was not protocol. The reason he did this is because he wanted what these things were carrying. Inside this boat were things like those complicated code machines called the Enigma, the books to decode them, secret plans, secret charts, weapons, lots of valuable information which should be helpful in ending the war sooner. That's the story I'm going to tell you guys inside. I do want to mention a few things so you're more comfortable. This will be tight quarters. It'll also be low clearance. Please remember, for nearly 70 years now, the U505 has been waging a war against foreheads. Hasn't lost a battle yet. Watch where you're going. Watch your step. There are cracks and spaces all over the floor you might trip over, which may lead into a compartment which I can't open. It may lead all the way down to the bilges of the submarine, which I can't get to. If you have anything valuable, you might want to hold on to it. If you lose it, it's just going to remain a part of the exhibit forever. A little hole is big enough for your camera to fall through, your jewelry, your glasses, things like that. Not big enough for children.
Dang it.
While we're going through there, if you wouldn't mind, this presentation involves a lot of flashing lights and sound effects. Now, unfortunately, if I lose my place with all the sound effects trying to answer questions during the tour, it's not worth $7 anymore. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them down at the end, but not during.
Answer one right
yes,
now? Yes.
Right.
Type 9?
Type 9.
Thank you.
So this one was alone. The Type 7s, which were looking more common, were about 35 feet shorter than this one. They would hunt in like what was called a wolf pack, 4 or 5 of them together. Type 9s were usually by themselves. That's why they weren't quite as favored. There was only about 50 of these made. This is the only one left. Now,
did you say you take questions?
At the end. Now, unfortunately, the museum has a policy. They don't allow any photography inside the submarine. You can feel free to take pictures and video out here, but we don't allow it inside. And the doorway we're about to walk through, that wasn't there before. We cut this door. While we're walking through the door, take a look to either side. You'll notice that there's a hollow space that's running down the side of the boat. And that empty space there is the ballast tank, which is an important feature on a submarine. We'll talk more about that on the inside. You guys ready?
Let's do it.